Hey, welcome back to Get Down to Business. Thrilled to be joined by another entrepreneur and a creator. That's right, I'm joined by Molly Rose Speed. Molly is a talented strategic thinker with cultivated skills, and we'll talk about that word cultivated in online tech solution systems, seamless automation, online programs and processes that improve company efficiencies. And we know every one of our listeners can learn. And I know, Molly, you launched your career from being a corporate accountant cubicle dweller, becoming that entrepreneur and creator of the Virtual Assistant Academy. Molly Rose Speed, welcome to Get Down to Business.
Hello, happy to be here. Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us. I love to get to know the person behind the microphone. I mentioned that you started in that cubicle, but it sounds like you have become quite the high-powered entrepreneur, and I want to talk about the Virtual Assistant Academy in just a moment, but tell us about Molly.
Yeah, my name is Molly Speed. I grew up in the Midwest, married military, which brought me down to Destin, Florida, and quickly had to create my own career with the lifestyle of a military spouse and all that it comes with it. And I've supported online entrepreneurs for the past 8 years, learning everything I can about the tech and automation. And now I teach and train virtual assistants to do the same thing, and I place them now with those amazing entrepreneurs.
You certainly, as a military spouse, you've discovered the challenges of jumping around from place to place, and the military. Speaking as an Army officer myself, we've learned how to adapt, and military spouses perhaps are the subject matter experts on that. So good for you, and certainly I know that you can teach so many classes, which is what you do with the Virtual Assistant Academy. So tell us about what you have created.
Yeah, so I really realized there's a gap for what women can do for entrepreneurs as moms and as military spouses. So in creating this program, it teaches you completely how to run a virtual assistant business, from marketing to communicating with clients to onboarding and running your own business, as well as all the tech you need to know to support an online business. So everything from email marketing to social media to bookkeeping and managing an online presence. So after someone comes through the program, they're certified as a virtual assistant and ready to take on their first client, and we handle the placement as well.
That's awesome. And along the way, you've learned a lot of lessons, and I know that you talk till you're blue in the face, which is something I think we all do in this Zoom era, about the things that you're passionate about. And so you teach your team a lot about creating time freedom in your business and life. So I'd love to glean some of those tips that you've learned over time. What is it that, especially as we have this conversation in December of 2021, wrapping up this year in a very challenging year, what can our listeners put in place that can help them in creating that space to be present?
I think it all starts with understanding what's on your plate. The first exercise I walk a client through that comes to us is identifying over the course of a week, 2 weeks, depending on how busy your schedule is, everything that you do. And I have you write it down, everything from sending an invoice to scheduling a meeting to calling your mom to buying a gift for your wife, whatever it could be. And then looking back at that list and understanding all the things that you physically don't have to do. And it might open up an opportunity for an assistant on your team, or maybe you're delegating to someone else that you shouldn't be doing these roles. And it really opens up freedom for things that can be taken off your plate. And I also identify things that you probably just shouldn't be doing anymore that are distracting from your goals and ways that you can be more productive.
Absolutely. And words of wisdom, and I agree. I calendar everything, not because necessarily something needs to be calendared, but also I can then point back to literally how I occupied my day. So again, I'm chatting with Molly Rose, who is a talented strategic thinker and an entrepreneur and creator of the Virtual Assistant Academy, something we are going to talk about in just a moment. But first, are there any other productivity tips that you have for fellow entrepreneurs that might be tuning in? Things that you've discovered, hey, work smarter, not harder.
I certainly agree with the calendar comment. If you look at your calendar, it's how you spend your day. So really identifying what's on your schedule and when you actually want to work. So time blocking things. One of the great things that I do with clients and teams is working in 90-day sprints. So goal planning, as we're going to go into 2022, is going to be something we're all working on, but that gets overwhelming. So really focus on what you can do for 90 days and get that task accomplished and focus on that and then address the next thing 90 days later, it seems to be a huge game changer for business owners.
Absolutely, having that sort of objective and being able to look I'm a whiteboard person, so I always have it right in front of me, right in front of my screen. I've got that whiteboard with that 90-day plan. So again, you are the subject matter expert when it comes to virtual assistants and even virtual teams, which you are ahead of the curve in a world that has certainly gone in that direction. So how do you outsource to a virtual assistant? And I guess more importantly, should our listeners, busy entrepreneurs that are working from home, how should they offload some of the things that maybe you just don't have to be doing yourself?
I think those of us that have started our own companies or are working within companies, if you started your own company, you're creating a job for yourself, and you probably are wearing 5 different hats that you didn't necessarily sign up for when you started your business. And you might not be doing the things that I say are in your zone of genius. So identifying your happiness and realizing that maybe offloading some of those things is super important to you. Also, there's that billable hour factor, right? If you can make $100 an hour and outsource that task for $20, that is $80 right back in your pocket. So really focusing on those development for your business tasks or billable hour things, and then outsourcing the rest is super important, I think, that we identify.
Absolutely. So we've already talked about some of those productivity life hacks. We've talked about creating that time freedom in your business and life and how to outsource to a virtual assistant or a virtual team. But I want to flip gears over here and talk about your virtual assistants, the folks that you are training in the Virtual Assistant Academy. Again, I'm chatting with Molly Rose. And Molly, I know that you are helping so many people create a completely virtual, profitable career as a virtual assistant. And I know that you are doing this with the lens of having been a military spouse. And this is certainly something that's near and dear to my heart in trying to create those opportunities. So how do you get started, Molly?
So we have a training program. So at virtualassistantacademy.com is where you can get started and learn everything you need to know about running a profitable virtual assistant business with a community by your side and coaching and mentorship from me personally. And it's the easy way to do it. Having gone through it myself and being self-taught for several years, left money on the table. Clients are literally waiting for virtual assistants. We have such a huge demand and not enough virtual assistants to place. So getting your first client is right around the corner after getting certified through something like this.
Absolutely. And I'm assuming that's something that based on time zones, based on life challenges, whether it's children or other things that might be going on, you're able to sort of determine your own availability and set the parameters for success. So what makes a good entrepreneur virtual assistant relationship?
Communication, 100%. So from the start, you identifying your needs to a client, even in the interview on how you'll be a great fit. And same thing from the client perspective, just being honest with the type of person that you'll work well with, the hours you need, the time zone, the tasks, if they're up to it, if they can learn, if they can figure it out, really identifying that you're a good fit from the start. And that's something we work through our management company if you decide to go through placement in that direction. And then from then on, the most successful relationships are those that connect on Monday mornings, go through task lists, and celebrate the successes of getting things done each week, and really treating that virtual relationship like a in-person relationship that's really valued in your business. So gratitude and celebrating the wins and looking for where you can make things better week after week.
Awesome. Well, I've certainly learned a lot in this conversation with Molly Rose Speed. Again, the entrepreneur behind the Virtual Assistant Academy, and hopefully all of our listeners are pumped up and excited, whether you are an entrepreneur yourself and you are looking for that extra help, whether it's for a couple hours or certain tasks, or whether it's really you just need a partner to help you get to the next level. But also for all of those that might be considering a completely virtual, profitable career as virtual assistant. So Molly, I know our listeners are interested. How can they learn more about you and the Virtual Assistant Academy?
So to learn about becoming a virtual assistant, go to virtualassistantacademy.com. If you're in need of hiring a virtual assistant, we offer that as a service, virtualassistantmanagement.com. My name is Molly Rose Speed, and you can find me on all social channels, and I have my own website.
Fantastic. Well, Molly Rose Speed, thank you so much for sharing your expertise and advice with our listeners. Certainly very timely as entrepreneurs are taking stock at the end of this calendar year, and certainly individuals are taking stock of their professional career at this point. So again, Molly Rose Speed, thank you so much for sharing with us, and I look forward to bringing you back on the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. And we've got to squeeze in a quick break for some headlines. We will be right back.